Episode number 255.
But now what's nice about releasing the office and the fact that we're so good virtually is that now I have a bigger talent pool. Now when I hire for position, I hire from the whole US. We're a better agency being remote because now we're not just confined to the downtown Denver area.
Welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff, where we talk about life, dreams, social media, and business.
Well, hello and welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff. Folks, you know me, your boy is always fired up, always ready to go, ready to bring you guys more value. And after this show, I think you're going to want to think of your marketing a little differently, especially if you're in B2B, as many of us are on the line here and on the show, because we're bringing you our featured guest today, Granger. JC, are you ready to be real?
I'm ready to be real. Let's rock.
He's ready, folks. JC has over 20 years of digital marketing experience. He launched his agency in 2011, folks. So he's been doing this for now 9 years, 10 years coming up on, and helping customers, especially tech customers, grow, folks. We all want to grow, getting more digital sales. And now I think we're even going to talk about how more and more traditional businesses are moving and trying to get more digital sales, obviously, as they're going through this Rona, and trying to get through this. But growing up in the Silicon Valley, you always had the impression of these tech companies, and this is where you lived, and you see the greatest companies developed, and still the world's most powerful companies are there. But you've been able to help companies from all over, as well as able to travel and spend time with your daughter, and kind of built a lifestyle, which is one of my favorite things, folks, about being an entrepreneur is you get the lifestyle. And he is the owner of the Infinity Marketing Group. JC, tell us a little bit about your story, man. I mean, you have 20 years of experience, but when you specifically were wanting to start the business, what gave you the passion? Was it like a client pushing you, or was it just like, hey, this is the time now?
It's funny. Like you said, I grew up in Silicon Valley. I was that, 12-year-old hacking AOL kind of story,
Right. Right.
But marketing I always found fascinating. It's funny. I'm actually writing a book right now about crisis marketing in particular. That'll be out in the early 2021. I came up with the idea because of everything we're going through with Corona and whatnot. And, marketing in a regular world where things are fine is one way to market. And, that works those times. But when you have things like recessions, bubble bursts, pandemics, corporate scandals, it completely changes, it flips everything on its head. And so you've got to really change what you're doing. But like you said, I grew up in Silicon Valley. I'm a tech nerd, so I really love helping out tech companies. But what we do really kind of applies to pretty much anyone doing marketing. You could take those general principles, and roll with it for sure.
I think most people right now, I think the biggest thing that's happened to a lot of people, JC, is they weren't ready for this. Obviously no one was ready for zero revenue in many businesses and trying to quickly pivot. And it's made those that are willing to pivot and willing to make changes and willing to adapt that much more stronger. I mean, many, many stories of clients, all of a sudden, you're not able to sell in store. Okay, let's sell online. All of a sudden we can, buy dry ice and ship these things anywhere. And you get success stories where all of a sudden their business is scaling in different ways because they now have the ability to ship in different states and et cetera. And so it's just fascinating. And I think many businesses right now, JC, and I'm sure you're experiencing this as well as it's going to be an onslaught going forward, are going to have to pivot more of their businesses to online, getting leads online, doing physical sales online, and making money online, because the brick and mortar model, obviously, as we know, has changed with Amazon now hitting $3,000 a share today and becoming, $1.5 trillion company. And basically, it was just 1 trillion not too long ago. They just got 500 million or 500 billion, like, boom, like, let's just bring this money in. And Jeff Bezos is like, let's go, baby. But the point is, it's because it's fascinating and brilliant, and he just knows how to suck money right out of your phone. And it's so convenient, and I don't have to go to a million different places right now. I don't have to go to Home Depot and the grocery store and 15 different places. Tomorrow, 5 different retailers kind of curate a box to me that's shipped to me in one day, let's just say mostly one day, a couple days maybe. And it shows up at your door. And so that's the brilliance of this new world. And if your business is not thinking that way, you're going to get lost behind, right? I mean, no matter what service you are.
Yeah. I mean, when Corona really hit hard in March, I mean, we took a gut punch like a lot of companies did. I mean, I'm a fully transparent person. I'll tell everyone listening right now, we lost about a third of our revenue in less than 30 days.
Me too.
Now, listen, I'm a hell of a sales guy, but Jesus, I mean, I can't, replace a third of my revenue in 30 days. That being said, I'll loop back to your original question about, kind of just what motivated me to start this. What motivated me to start my company, and I actually started before 2011, but it kind of became more formal in 2011, was my daughter. I was making six figures, doing marketing director at a CPA firm, and tax resolution firm. And, but I was working for it too. I was missing it. I was missing, she was 4 and I was missing it. Right. And I said, screw this. And so I quit. I had just whatever I had in my savings ready to go. I was like, well, I'll figure it out. It was one of those things where she was some people, listen, I don't recommend people take those kind of risks when, I was a single father, caring for a 4-year-old little girl, and you quit your job and people say, why would you take that kind of risk? And me, I say to myself, well, how could I not? Because I believe in myself. I know that I'm very good at what I do. I knew I could jump and figure out how to fly on the way down. Right. I don't recommend that necessarily for everyone else. Don't get me wrong. This is not necessarily something you should put into your, plan, or like, oh yeah, let's just risk the whole world. No. But I knew I had a very specific set of circumstances, and so I've had my agency for 10 years, but I always tell people I've been taking it seriously for 3 because the whole point of quitting and doing it was to kind of go more part-time, right. Be able to pay the bills and just fine, but spend my time with my little girl. And I got those years. I did it. Success, right? And then, she's older now, of course, she's 14 now. So, we stepped on the gas, and now it's like, okay, we can get more into business. Right. But I tell that story because the people, and by the way, we're doing fine now. We took that gut punch, but because I had learned the lessons from the 08-09 recession, right, when the housing market crashed, right? Because like I said, I was still doing this then. Right. It was more formal in 2011. Right. And so I learned to be lean from the start. Yes. So granted, we took a third of our gross revenue hit. We also lost a third of our expenses because we were scalable up and down. Right. So although it was a hit, it wasn't some death blow. And we recovered within 60 days. And now I actually think we're going to do better this year than we would have done without it, because it actually gave me time to do things like I told you about, writing the book. I've got my own podcast I'm dropping here soon called The Future of BizTech. Oh, nice. I'm going to interview B2B. We're already interviewing right now, and we're editing, and we're going to drop when there's 5 ready. But we're going to be interviewing B2B tech CEOs, specifically in the software space, SaaS, AI, things like that. Because, I want to know where's it going from here, right? The one thing that's happened with Rona is that everyone's turning to technology to get them out of the bind. Right. And so I want to know what those things are, right? So that's what we're working on and whatnot. But yeah, everything's going digital, and people have to be lean and mean about their company. They have to be in it for the right reasons. If you started a company when times were good because it was just going to make money, there's a really good chance you're out of business right now, because that's not enough to keep the passion you need to get through something like this. These are black swan events, right? You can't account for these. And being an entrepreneur is hard. And the only thing that gets you through it is having a real foundational passion internally. For me, it was my daughter, right? For someone else, it might be that they want to care for their family, or they want to, be a celebrity, or whatever it is, but something that's at their core, right? So it's not just about how do you make your company lean and how do you get the new leads in digital. It's, you have to look also like, are you even doing this for the right reason? So I come at it a little more holistically than that. But to get to your end part though, about the digital lead gen, especially in times right now, there are certain types of digital marketing you should focus on more than others, because certain types are going to bring you an ROI quicker. And that's what you need to be focusing on when everything's going to hell. You got to stop the bleeding, right? Lean down, right? And then punch back.
Get some leads. Yeah. Get some action going in your business.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because there's always going to be someone that's wanting to lean in as well. They got cash. They haven't ever done social media. They've been a legacy business, just getting leads coming in left and right. Now they're all of a sudden wanting to do $100,000 social media campaigns and be on Instagram and Facebook and et cetera, when these companies didn't want to do this before the Rona because it was just times were good. And so I think even companies that have cash that have never done digital, social media, et cetera, are going to be wanting to maybe put some of that to work to grow even further, because if they have cash, they're a great business. They put a little fuel on the fire. You're going to be maybe even a much bigger business coming out of this thing.
Yeah.
With new customers and new, and they're very, this one specifically is a B2B focus. They provide like chicken for, let's say, Chipotle or someone in the back end to just quickly use it, grab it. It's already cooked. You just heat it up and you're good.
Yeah.
They already got it sliced up for you, flavored, everything. And so these companies don't have to have too many new customers come along from these social media campaigns for it really to pay off big time. But the point is, everybody's going through something different right now, and we're all experiencing this. We don't know when the end is going to be. I quite think about that often because it's like 113 days that we've been tracking us being sheltered in place here in California. As far as like really
California, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just a different vibe as far as that goes, because we don't know the end, you know what I mean? But the bottom line is right now is the time to focus on you, focus on your books, focus on your podcast, focus on things that you're not meeting with customers. So you can do Zooms, you can do things. Last week, folks, I did 10 interviews. I have never do 10 interviews. I did 10 interviews. And I did 2 of my own where I went on other people's podcasts and talked for an hour. And so 12 interviews, folks, I did all on Zoom. But the point is meeting people all over the world, hopefully building obviously friendships, but really good content for people in different industries and topics and the experts sometimes in their industry. And so I'm always learning. But the point is now is the time to learn, folks, because there's never a better time. You're not going to get this time back. We have to take advantage of this time, whether you're being present with your families, whether you're being present in your business. And I love what you said just about leaning down too, like lean down too in many ways, like if you can work from home, work from home. I mean, many of our clients and startups are possibly letting their leases go,
Yeah, we did. We actually did. I mean, listen, it's easier said than done.
Right.
I was talking to someone the other day. I said, it's really interesting how overnight it seems the construct of having an office or not completely flipped on its head. So for example, before Corona, we had an office downtown Denver, right by the Capitol building. And, some companies that said something about us, right? They wanted to come down and see the space. They did. And I'll be lying if I said that didn't get some clients on our side, right?
Of course.
That we won because they saw the operation we had. Now there's such a stigma even having an office that now the fact that we say that we have none, that we are 100% remote, that used to mean that you're small beans. Now it means you're smart and sustainable. And if anything like this happens again, there won't be a break in service. It's crazy how that went literally 100% in the other direction in a month.
Yep.
And so we got rid of the office because, listen, here's the thing too is, we already had a national staff. Most of them were in Denver,
right?
Like 80% of our staff.
Right.
But now what's nice about releasing the office and the fact that we're so good virtually is that now I have a bigger talent pool.
Absolutely.
Right now, when I hire for a position, I hire from the whole U.S.
Right.
So arguably, we're a better agency being remote because now we're not just confined to the downtown Denver area.
1,
now we've got the whole United States and all the talent that it involves at our disposal, which is fantastic.
That's the big one. That's the big one, folks. The talent pool. And being lean. I mean, whatever it was, I'm sure it wasn't 1,000. I'm sure it was a couple $1,000s maybe a month you're paying for rent. And that goes to your mortgage and to your team and to strengthening the business and keeping profitable. My business has always run that way. From 11 years ago, people wanted us to have the fancy office. We probably did lose customers, to be transparent with you. Maybe the opposite of you. We probably did lose customers because we didn't have a fancy office for them to come into. And we just embedded ourselves with agencies in their offices and worked Zoom, worked the transparency of email and all those beautiful things that you can do now, text, FaceTime, phone calls, email. You're just like being right next to somebody, working with them in the office, but now, like you said, the stigma's gone. And so now it's like, now you're smart, now you're cool.
Well, it's not even just the stigma's gone. It's quite literally flip. I think the stigma is on people who have offices now.
No, you're right. Yeah,
and now
there's
a benefit. Now people say, wow, you're remote. That's even better because they look at it as if something like this happens again, they want to make sure that you as their vendor doesn't go under either.
100%.
Because they rely on you. So they want to know that you are set up properly. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I talk about in the book. The book will be called "Crisis Marketing: How to Survive and Thrive During Recessions, Bubble Bursts, and Corporate Scandals." And one thing that I talk about in that is very much of how to kind of survive that cold winter night. Right? It's I tell people, I'm like, listen, if a pianist gets lost in the woods, his body's like, listen, I know you love piano, but the fingers got to go, man. Right? Like, it's just, you have to protect the core. Right. And so there's a lot of uncomfortable decisions that have been made during Corona for companies and will have to be made on whatever else comes next.
Right.
Right. And one of those things is like to what you're saying about leaning down, there's certain things you're going to have to cut. There's certain things you're going to have to completely get rid of. Some things you're going to temporarily change people out on. There's just a lot, and it's really hard. But the reason why we're focusing so much on the LinkedIn side, is because that is the quick ROI. Right? There are certain types of digital marketing that'll give you a faster result. PPC, so pay per click, paid ads, LinkedIn direct outreach, email marketing, and if you're B2C, text message marketing, for example. Those are things that have a very fast turnaround because people reply to emails, they click on ads, and they reply to their LinkedIn messages, and they reply to text, or they see them right away.
Right.
So one thing we've been focusing a lot on, especially for our B2B clients, is just hammering away at the LinkedIn lead gen system. And we built a monster out. But what's nice about it is that once you click that thing on, you've got a bigger network. You're able to have port their information into your CRM. You're doing drip campaign series on LinkedIn, and they're doing a secondary drip campaign series one-on-one through your email. We take a part in actually helping reply to the initial replies. Gotcha. What we found is we were actually overwhelming our clients in a good way. They were getting so many replies, but the problem with that is these people have other jobs to do.
Right.
So they were getting lost and overwhelmed by the replies. So we added on one more step where we will filter the replies and reply back to them with predetermined and approved reply scenarios. And then once that person is a real warm lead, they show interest, they're ready to go, they want to talk, then we forward it to our clients. So from the client's point of view, they have no software to interact with, nothing. It's a done-for-you service. They pay us. All of a sudden, they're getting a ton of LinkedIn connections. And then they're only hearing from us when the warm leads come in, and then they're ready to rock. I tell people, it's kind of like, you can lead a horse to water, but not make it drink. Well, it's like we lead that horse to water, and we put its head down to the water and touch its lips to the water.
Right.
All our client has to do is make it drink, and that's not hard after that. So, you do social media, so you get it, but there are certain types of social media that have quicker ROIs, than others. But when you do that direct, that's what's great about LinkedIn. It provides that ability to have a one-on-one conversation with people. You can't really do that, let's say, in Facebook or you can do it a little bit in Twitter and stuff. You have DMs, right? You have those private messages, but it's not really the same. It's not a platform set up for that,
And a lot of people are so overwhelmed in their messaging that they don't even see it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people's direct messenger is so busy that they don't see that.
Well,
so
that's why we pull it out into email. That's the thing that we found out too. We found out that people, listen, LinkedIn is a highly, highly responsive market.
Right.
But they don't check their LinkedIn that often. So if you look at it from how many messages you send out on LinkedIn to how many get replied to overall, the percentages are through the roof. They're insanely responsive, but they're not insanely attentive. And there's a difference.
It might be like a week later you or something.
Exactly. So what we did was, because we realized that people aren't checking their LinkedIn as often, but they are responsive, we said, okay, what if we make the LinkedIn drip campaign series more about authority building and goodwill, just not selling anything, right? Because people don't actually really like to be sold on LinkedIn, to be honest. So we just made it like being nice and helpful. But then because we have their information from that, we take their email, and that goes into a one-on-one email series between them, because people check their email like 10, 20 times a day.
Right.
So once we added that in, and then went that step further of even replying to the initial replies for the client, Jesus, the damn thing blew up.
And that's where you're taking off right now, because those leads, getting those warm leads, it makes sense.
And for ourselves too.
Right.
I mean, we use this, like, this is our system. We use it for us too.
It makes sense. I'll be turning that thing on all day, baby. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Get them leads.
It actually works too well. I have to turn it off sometimes.
Yeah, baby. We can get that thing. That's a hot sauce, baby. That's a hot sauce. Now, folks, we're about to take my man JC into our top 10. JC, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Yeah. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Instagram or Facebook?
I'm Facebook still, because I think I'm old.
Facebook, baby. Facebook. Chicken or steak?
Oh, steak all day.
Boom. Laptop or a smartphone?
Smartphone, actually.
Spotify or Pandora?
Oh, Spotify every day of the week.
Let's go. Do you listen to podcasts on Spotify?
I have not yet because I still have the because of my Apple, so they've made it real easy to have the podcast app. And I'm also and I do a lot of audiobooks like through Audible.
Yes.
But I have heard that Spotify is starting to do these exclusive deals now, which is smart.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Well, that's just the beginning.
Absolutely.
It's a Netflix model.
Kanye and
it's going to be all about exclusive content now. The audio streaming types of platforms are now going to start doing what the video streaming can do and making their own content, but in this case, just simply contracting for it to be exclusive content.
Yep. And then and investing in shows. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, they're going to start investing. I think they said
you might get a call soon. Who knows?
We'll see. We'll see, man. We got to keep going. We got to keep people putting in work. No, but you're absolutely right. It's fascinating business. Movies or video games?
Oh, movies.
Reading books or listening to books?
I listen to books. I'm just if I sit down and try to read one, I'll get distracted. So
slow you down too.
It does.
Something that's good about books, folks, though, is like physical books is like the books you want to mark up. Those are the books you really want to just get into, mark tactically.
And I'll buy those books after listening to the audiobook. So what's really funny is I'll listen to an audiobook. And so there's one in particular that if anyone's listening that they like, it's called Story Brand by Donald Miller.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great one. And that's one you want to mark up, right? So I listened to that one and then I bought the book afterward just so I could mark it up.
Yep. That's the best thing about that physical book is marketing it up. But there's nothing like the power of audio, folks. You can just be doing so many different things. Oceans or lakes when you're thinking about taking a vacation?
Oh, oceans, definitely. Vacation. Yeah.
Let's go. Where would be the first ocean you'd go right now if you could hop on a plane?
Right now, man, I just put, I want to go to Costa Rica. I'd love to go to Costa Rica.
Love that place. Oh, man. I've never been, but I've had lots of friends.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Beautiful. Is it cool to go down there right now?
Listen, you can get down there. Even South America, they've, there are a lot of things that are shut down there too. Right. I had a friend who just went to Costa Rica and, the streets were barren, but again, he got a place on the beach. Is that if your purpose is to go there and relax and get away from things, well, then you can do that. Right. But if you're trying to go there to experience the culture and go to all the places, that's not going to happen too much right now. Unfortunately.
Just like anything. We had an expert in travel on this last week, and she said, people are going to be wanting to do these outdoor experiences, Tanzania, places where there's tons of outdoor activities and less museums and crowded places and stuff like that anyways. And that might be the future going forward for a little while here,
if you want to snorkel or scuba dive or surf or whatever, like if you're trying to get out there in the water, like, you're fine, you're set, and as long as you get a place like on the beach, you can just go and walk right to it, then you're good. But it's definitely a different type of vacation now you have to keep in mind for sure.
Yep. It's weird. It's very interesting. So a few more last questions for you, my man. You're waking up in the morning today. You're looking at yourself in the mirror, JC. Why do you love being you?
Every day, I'm a sponge for information. It's not about loving being me. I think what I love is being able to learn more things all the time. I'm in a position where I have to consume a lot of content just to keep up with the industry that I'm in. And marketing is always changing. I am a person who gets bored very easily. And I chose this profession because it has never bored me once. It's just rapidly evolving too fast. Right. So that I like, I've got a pretty good life, man. I got to tell you, I've got great staff at my company. My daughter is amazing. She's such a good kid, behaves and she does her gymnastics and everything. I have a lot of love for that. I got a new puppy. His name's Junior.
Oh, nice.
He's like 11 weeks old. He's a golden doodle. He's asleep on the air conditioning vent right now, which I think is brilliant. like of all the places, I'm like, I get it, man. That sounds exactly like where you'd want to sleep, like right on the AC vent. It's like 95 degrees outside. Like I get it. I got great friends, just a good family. It's just, I don't know. I'm happy to be me because I think I've worked hard enough to make sure that my life is providing the results that I've worked hard for.
And it's living out in your clients and your daughter and everything you have, man, because you've done that and you've purposely taken that step. Do you think you'll ever retire?
Well, I mean, financially, sure. But physically or mentally, no. I always be working on something. My brain doesn't have an off switch, which, sometimes leads to sleepless nights. But
right.
Typically, yeah, I mean, financially is one thing, like I might sell my agency one day and then move on to another project. But just because I don't have to work doesn't mean I won't be. I mean, like I said, I get bored too easily. There's no way I couldn't not be doing something.
Just sitting and golfing or playing Netflix.
No, yeah, I don't have that in me. I don't. Listen, don't get me wrong. I might take a month.
Right.
And be like, you know what? I'm going to go travel. But even then, I'm still consuming in that sense, right? I'm still learning and taking in new cultures and visiting places. And even then, sometimes traveling gives you new ideas for business stuff, whether it be services or a whole new business idea, just by, taking in the world a little bit. So yeah,
Absolutely. So many great ideas come from that. Is there a skill you're trying to master right now in this crazy pandemic? Rona? You're writing a book. Is that a new skill that you're working on?
I've never written a book before. I'm starting off with a co-author book right now, and that one will be done at the end of summer. My chapter that I'm dedicating to it is about the crisis marketing. So that was how I was kind of practicing.
Got you into it.
And now that that's done, now I'm actually writing the full book on it, which would be early 2021. And then the podcast, you've done a ton of these, man. I'm brand new. I've only recorded 3. I've got 2 more to record before we drop it live.
Absolutely.
And then after that, so I'm learning, maybe you can give me some tips on that sometime.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing about podcasting is just keeping the passion going, because most podcasters give up, right? Just like bloggers, just like anything. So keeping the passion going, know that the shows always build. They always build. So as you build catalogs and stuff like that, they always build. And some people just have the right topic right from the get-go, and they just hit it from show one, and they just bring it on the right guest.
About the passion. See, that's the thing. That's why I start. So the reason why I started the Future of BizTech is even if I sell my agency one day, I would still keep the podcast.
There you go.
Because I'm a tech nerd. I always think it's cool. I love talking to CEOs of like software and tech companies because it fascinates me. So that is something I think I'd always keep going, just because it's something that I would do for free no matter what.
And you got all these different types of tech companies, like legacy tech companies, Intel, Cisco. You got new growth, the Ubers,
you got your startups.
And you got startups. Yeah, people that are just grinding in the basement that are going to be the next Amazon. They're working, they're grinding. So you got so many different types of people to interview. I think it'd be fascinating. I think there'd be a lot of how I've also had a good success finding guests, just so you know too, is on Twitter or direct message.
Okay. Twitter's
LinkedIn.
If we're getting all ours from LinkedIn. Yeah.
LinkedIn is the best one for you.
We do actually use, what's funny is that LinkedIn system I told you about, we don't really advertise. I'm telling you, but we don't really advertise this, but we accidentally stumbled upon a niche for this. It's actually helping podcast hosts like yourself get guests. All right. And specifically like other marketing agencies, because it can be good for like a sales funnel too. You do the podcast and it's great, but it could also build that relationship that maybe could turn into business relationship as well. But yeah, we use it for ourselves, but we got all these podcast owners that hire us for this too. And that's not something we're putting on our website because I don't want to get too far off of my B2B tech, range, but it's one of those like kind of private. If you heard that we do it and someone told you and you come to us, okay, fine. Right.
That's
but we're not putting out ads about it or anything,
That's very cool. Hey, that is awesome, man. Hey, my man's making multiple streams of revenue. That's what it's all about, baby. That's what it's all about. If you could sit down with anyone in the world for a steak dinner, who would it be?
Jim Carrey.
Oh, dude.
Not because he's funny. Don't get me wrong. The guy's hilarious, and that's going to make it a fun dinner.
That's going to make it a fun dinner.
He's possibly one of the smartest people that I've never met.
Yeah, he's fascinating kind of guy.
If you YouTube him, he gives this commencement speech for this college this one time, or I think it might have been a high school. I have to go back and check, but his speech was just so insanely touching and real and educated. I mean, the guy has a brilliant mind, like quite literally a brilliant mind. A lot of people don't know this, but when he first got on a Living Color, remember way back in Living Color, he was homeless. He was there was in the beginning he was literally living out of his van before he got his big break. This is a man who never gave up. No matter how bad things were, he always believed in himself. He was insanely intelligent, and now look at him now. So absolutely, it would be Jim Carrey without a doubt.
And his belief in abundance, man. I think that story about him writing a check to himself or something like that, along the lines of writing a huge check to yourself. Like,
I didn't even hear about that.
Oh, dude, it's fascinating. Like when he was homeless like that, he wrote himself like $1 million check, or maybe it was more. I don't know. It was a big check to him.
Yeah.
And he was like, one day I'm going to cash this like within a few, year or something, or, a certain period of time. And one day he was able to cash, this check for, he was able to basically like visualize exactly what
that's
he did
smart.
when he was sitting in a van or wherever, homeless.
Yeah.
And there's a whole story around it too. A very interesting story around this.
That's fantastic.
You wrote in abundance thinking, in abundance thinking that the world is full of abundance and it's going to bring you this, can you give our listeners, my man, because I love your energy. I love what you're doing for your clients. I think that the business is, even though we're taking hits in marketing and advertising like we always do during these times, anyone's taking a hit in marketing and advertising. It's just, it doesn't matter if you're broadcasters, publishers, agencies, whatever. We're going to be rallying hard. And I love that you're going to be getting even stronger during these times. And you are stronger during these times. So appreciate everything you've given our listeners so far. Can you give our listeners one last real talk thought, my man?
Give me more direction. How about this? Give me a topic.
Yeah, right now, can you give our listeners a way that they can get more leads from their ads right now?
Yeah, so here's, if you're B2B, you got to get on LinkedIn, specifically get a Sales Navigator account through LinkedIn. It's like $80 a month, best money you ever spend, because it allows you to target your audience so specifically by industry, job title, location, company size, keywords, you name it, even experience levels, things like that, if you're a recruiter or whatever. And once you have the ability to target, marketing is really just three parts. It's the right message in front of the right people at the right time. Now, two of those things you can control, the other one you can't. You can't control timing, but if you're doing it all the time, then it'll eventually be the time for them, right? So you can control the right message and you can control the right people by the targeting. So I'd say if you're B2B, you got to get in LinkedIn. There's courses online. If somebody wants to hand it off, they can contact us. We're happy to talk to them about how we can help them. But yeah, I would say that's my biggest B2B one. If you're B2C, influencer marketing right now is the most bang for your buck. There are influencer marketing platforms that you can get on. You can Google them and there'll be about 100 results. But there's more ROI coming out of having other people promote your message than there is by you doing the ads on, let's say, Facebook or Instagram. You're actually better off paying someone $100 who has a certain size following to post your message than you are putting that $100 into paid ads. You'll get more reach and more conversions that way. So I highly recommend influencer marketing. There's a lot of good B2C companies out there that do that. And if you're B2B, you got to go LinkedIn.
Do you have a favorite platform for yourself that you like on the influencer?
We dabbled in it. We don't really use it much. We experimented with seeing if that's something we wanted to do, but because it's so B2C oriented and we're B2B,
gotcha.
Like I said, we do a lot of experiments and we don't always take them all. We are going to dip back into it for more B2B influencer marketing, which is not really a thing. That's the one thing that B2B is lacking is a B2B influencer platform. Yeah. Right now it's all B2C. So one little private I guess not so private now since it's on a podcast, but one little idea that I had for the future was either creating or integrating a B2B influencer platform for B2B companies. Because the idea is still very sound. There's just not really there's a big market for it. There's just no supply.
Right.
Which is really weird. So if anyone listening happens to know of one that I didn't know about, let me know.
That's a good idea. It's a fascinating idea. Well, I just, like I said, I love you guys' energy today. JC, can you give our listeners, where's the best place for people to find you on social or learn more about the business too as well?
Yeah. If you go on LinkedIn, you want to add me, you just type in JC Granger, Granger. You can also email me at jc@infinitymgroup.com. Or just go to our website, infinitymgroup.com, to tool around there, see what you like, and you can contact us through the website. And if you feel like calling us, our phone number, main line is 303-834-7344.
Well, folks, you've been hanging out with JC Granger and your boy Travis Too Tall and Huff. We want to thank you again for your time today, and let's keep being real. What another epic episode. And if you enjoyed the episode today, can you please do me a favor and subscribe to our podcast, The Be Real Show, on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform, and also take a little time today, if you don't mind, and give your boy T Huff a review. I would really super appreciate it, and thank you so much for listening today. We're all going through a lot right now, and Real-Time Outsource, my business, is giving back to local and small businesses. Through our social media services and campaigns, we are actually helping small businesses get more exposure during these times and also when we get through these times. at the end of the day, we don't know how long this is all going to last. But most importantly, you got to think about your business right now and take it seriously. So come check us out at realtimeoutsource.com, and we would love for you to qualify and get the process started where we can take a look at your business and see if we can qualify you for some of our services at little to no cost for most of the businesses. And some businesses, you're going to have to pay, but that's part of life, right? But most importantly is that I think this is the time, folks, that you can actually help thrive in your business. And so I would love to help you personally with our team. We're all going through a tough time right now. So take advantage of us. realtimeoutsource.com. Check us out. And we would love to do some business with you and help you with your social and digital media in 2020 and beyond.